where I'm back in the room and I just wanted to jump straight into it. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm not going to do some cheesy introduction. I'm just going to get straight into it. You know, the other day I came across this thing online and it really just changed my perspective on everything. And it's that at the end of the day, we're all floating around on a rock in the middle of space. And look, I know it sounds a little crazy, a little random, but when you look at things from that like kind of perspective, that view, it really just makes you realise how a lot of the things we do are insignificant. And you can see that as a good thing, a bad thing, positive, negative. But what I see it as is that we worry so much about the smallest things when in reality they're just not a big deal at all. You know, say for example, what will people think of my new haircut that isn't the best? Is it really that deep? No, there's bigger problems going on. And it just made me realise that all of this time I've been sat around complaining about, not being where where I want to be and other stuff, I could have taken action and I have the power to take action. Same with you, right? We would have the power to, do productive things and change, the course of our destiny, fate, whatever. But that really just changed my whole perspective. It just shifted it, like massively, because it just made me realize that we worry so much about the smallest of things when in reality they're just insignificant. Because the reality is, right, that little to none of what we do will be remembered. And while that might sound really depressing, that's just the truth. And I wouldn't take it as a negative. I'd see it more as a positive to do stuff that will be remembered, generations down, and to create, a legacy. But that's just the truth. Little to nothing we do or say will be remembered. Most people can't even remember their great grandparents. Why? Not to be rude or anything, probably because they, didn't have the biggest impact. And that's just the gonna stop saying the reality, but that's just the honest, raw truth. I look around and I just see people worrying and just over complicating the smallest things, and you can't help but feel a little sympathetic because you just think to yourself, it's really not that big of a deal, but you just can't see it because you're just inside of this, box, of your own mind. You're not able to see how insignificant this really is. And a prime example is me starting this whole YouTube channel. I waited for months to start it because I was nervous what other people thought. But then it just clicked. The pain of regret is, way more than the pain of what other people think. And truth be told, people don't really care that much. That's just the truth. So, what I'm just trying to say is that we often think that, the stuff we do, the stuff we say is super important. The way we look, all of that stuff. And don't get me wrong, it is important. But in the grand scheme of things, it's really pretty much irrelevant. So you just have to go through life with the mindset. Obviously, I know I'm only 14 and I haven't, experienced life. But I'm just saying, from what I've experienced, is that you have to go through your days with the mindset of, I'm going to make, some significance today, because most people just exist. They exist, they don't properly live, right? And they go day by day. People live, day to day. People like me and you, we live, years to years because, we're thinking ahead. And some people just don't think ahead. That's just the truth. Look, I can't stress this enough, right? Truth is, the real truth is that we should spend way too much of our time on the small, irrelevant things. We don't focus on the actual big things that will get us further in life. We waste our days. We live day to day. We wake up, snooze our alarms, go, wherever late. And that's just how we live. And I'm not trying to sound like, an Andrew Tate clone or, a self-improvement YouTuber like any of these people. But what I'm just trying to say is that, recently, as, from what the thing I saw online changed my perspective. It's just really clicked, and it's just made me, kind of realise the truth, which is that, as I've said multiple times throughout this video, a lot of stuff we do is insignificant. So you just have to focus in on the big things, ignore, the small, irrelevant things, because there's plenty of things that may seem small but are genuinely important, but ignore the small, irrelevant things like what he or she thinks, what they think XYZ, and just focus on the big things that actually will, reward you in the future and that actually have a high ROI, return on investment. Because, see yourself clicking on this video as a sign, because trust me, 5 years from now, you'll, You know, you'll wish you never chose comfort over discipline. You'll wish you never let your dreams wither away because you cared about what other people you don't even really like thought of you, and that you ultimately just gave in to temptations and your desires rather than having some willpower and actually going out there and working for your goals. You know, putting in the effort required to get your dream physique, to get your dream car, dream house, dream girl, you know, whatever. And that is simply the truth, alright? That's all I'm saying. You know, I'm gonna keep this video short. I'm not trying to ramble on for half an hour or anything. There's a lot of books are like 300 pages when, you know, truth be told, they could only be 15 and that'd be all the value you need to read. But yeah, just ultimately remember that a lot of the things we do are insignificant, right? And don't see it as a negative, see it as a positive to make the things you do significant and have an impact on not just yourself, but other people, and not just on other people, but yourself. You know, living life to the fullest doesn't mean driving around a bunch of luxury cars in, you know, Dubai, wearing Rolexes, all of that. It means, you know, living life to the fullest in every aspect. And to live life to the fullest in every aspect, you have to work on yourself in every aspect, because we often think that a storm is there to destroy us when in reality it's there to kind of cleanse us sometimes. So any bad habits you have, cut them off, cut the root source of them, you know, because that's where it all stems from. And then what you can start to do is you can use good habits to drive them out. Instead of spending 10 minutes on social media, spend 10 minutes, you know, in a cold shower, reading, ice bath, exercising, whatever. It's the unnecessary, you know, time consumers with stuff that's genuinely useful, because then you'll start seeing rewards, progress and results. But yeah, in conclusion, I'm going to finish off this video. As I said, I'm running over a bit, but I just really wanted to stress that, you know, at the end of the day, we're all floating around on a rock in the middle of space, and a lot of the things that you think are important, like what someone else thinks about you, you know, a lot of the worries you have, will this work out, in the big scheme, in the grand scheme, the grand clock of everything, it's really not a big deal. And stress is one of the ultimate killers of not just dreams, but people in general. You can search it up, you know, it's up there. And to just take a step back, reflect, and just ultimately jump back into it, live life to the fullest, and just grind every single day, because it's the days you don't want to do it. When you do it, you'll see the results and you'll see the progress. You stay in a cycle of bad habits, you know, you'll stay in that cycle of bad habits. It's really that simple. Nothing changes if nothing changes, and it's down to you whether or not you want it to change. This video can't make you change, I can't make you change, it's down to you. So I've brought you to the gold pot, if you want to call it that, and it's down to you whether or not you want to take the gold and actually use it, or if you just want to walk the other way and carry on down the path of degeneracy. So your choice, choose wisely, think, you know, pretty much every action you do, what will future me in 5 years think. Peace.